Okay, this week's going to be some fun. We're going to make tacos, and I'm making both corn and flour tortillas. So let's get to work. Starting with the corn tortillas, I've got 1 3/4 cup of masa, one cup plus 2 teaspoons of hot water, then I'll work that in with a spoon to get it started, and then I'll switch over to using my hands. It's real easy to get it all worked together with your hands. Cover it with some plastic wrap and let that sit for about 30 minutes. Then for the flour tortillas, I've got 2 cups of flour, two teaspoons of baking powder, and I've got a 1/4 pound of Crisco. Could use any veggie shortening or lard or bacon grease, works well here. Cut it into cubes and mixed it into the flour. 2 teaspoons of kosher salt in my hot water. Then I'm going to start working the flour and the Crisco together. Gonna squish it together, kind of rub the lard and the flour together like you're rubbing a dog's ear. Maybe not, you wouldn't rub the dog's ear as hard as this, but kind of gives you the idea. Add the water and continue mixing that. And this seems like it's still a little wet, so I'm going to add some more flour. Okay, now I'm going to knead this for about 2 to 3 minutes, and I'll just shape it into a ball and cover it and let that sit anywhere from 30 minutes to about 2 hours. Get a saucepan going over high heat. A little bit of bacon fat. Throw in a pound of ground beef. Add some diced red and yellow onion. A little bit of my Mexi seasoning. We'll roll this lime to get it ready for juicing, and then I'll just cut it in half. I've got some hominy going in the back burner there. Drain the ground beef. Add about a capful of liquid smoke. Reseason with some more of my Mexi seasoning. A little bit of granulated garlic. And then I'll juice the lime into there. Add a little bit of chicken broth. A little bit more of my seasoning. It doesn't seem like it's strong enough yet. And just top the meat with the chicken broth there. A little bit of prepared taco seasoning. And some chopped fresh cilantro. The masa is a little dry, so I'm going to add cold water, a tablespoon at a time. You want it as moist as possible without being sticky, kind of like a Play-Doh. And I'm going to recover that while I get my griddle hot. So I'm just going to cut these into wedges, and then I'm going to split each wedge into half and roll those into balls. You want to keep this covered too while you're working. Trying to work fast here. And earlier I took a plastic bag and I cut the ends and the edges off to use it to line the tortilla press, so I can just pull them right out of there. And then flip them onto the griddle. If you flip your hand out from underneath the tortillas, you won't have them stick. And now onto the flour ones. I'm going to do the same cutting process there. A little flour on my work surface. Could still work a little flour into that. Okay, and then I'm going to split each one into two and roll it in the flour and roll them into balls. Made pretty quick work of that. Okay, keep these covered too. Now you can press these with a tortilla press. I think they come out a lot better if you roll them. And I just dip each one in the flour again and then roll it out with my little rolling pin. You just roll it one way, give it a quarter turn, roll it again, keep going until you get the size you want. Just don't roll off the edges when you're rolling them out. Just roll to the edge of the dough and stop. Alright, these guys are starting to bubble a little bit. Oh, that one's bubbling up good. You can kind of roll these out and keep feeding the griddle as you go. There we go, just pat that one down. We're about ready to go here. Have a flour tortilla, a little bit of refried beans, some ground beef filling, a little bit of shredded cheddar, and some diced red onion. And if you want, a little salsa. So that's the tacos. There's not much to say about those. I did make both of the tortillas a little bit smaller than normal to make them more street size. I also used my Mexi seasoning mainly as the base for the seasoning. I also used my Mexi seasoning for the base for the seasoning of the taco meat itself. I added just a little bit of a pre-packaged mix. And then I also used chicken stock instead of water to moisten that. The resting time on both of the tortillas is fairly important. I let both of them rest about a half hour after I mixed the water in so that they could absorb the water and be ready to work with when I'm ready to go. I often wish the Italians and early Americans had picked up the nixtamalization, which is the process the Aztecs and the Mayans developed for treating the dried corn. They treat the dried corn with calcium hydroxide, which is made from limestone, which is also sold as slaked lime or pickling lime. It makes the corn easier to digest by removing the tough outer hull, and it also makes it more nutritious by making the niacin more easily absorbed by the body. It's something that we don't get from polenta or grits, so something to keep in mind when you're working with the masa. Well, if nothing else, I hope you give these tortillas a try. Until next time, thanks for watching.